Hello, welcome back to the channel. Thank you as always for tuning in. I hope everyone's doing all right. So as you can see, I'm back in the man cave. I've obtained a good high quality tripod and selfie stick combo that I can put my phone into because I'm doing all my videos on my phone now rather than my camera. It just seems funny enough, much better quality and much easy. So my wife very kindly got me that for my birthday recently. So yeah, nice new setup and hopefully, yeah, better quality all round. It'll certainly be very handy for when I'm out and about and doing the digging videos. So if you've clicked on the video today, you know what it's all about. When I was thinking about what to do for my next video, I was kind of thinking, should I do an online update? Is there enough? And I'm like, I looked through the list of what I bought recently and I was like, yes, there's loads of examples I can show here. So I'm going to crack on because I've got a lot to get through. There's a lot of really good stuff, if I'm honest with you, if I may say so myself. Just a disclaimer for our start, I haven't played all of these. I've played about 50% of them. So one or two of them I can only show and can't comment on quite yet. But you'll just have to bear with me on that. Right, let's get on with this. Okay, to start off, we've got... There's an outfit called Tusks. It's their debut release. What am I talking about? Release. And the album is called Dissolve. Now, I've mentioned Tusks before on the channel. I actually did a short on them. It's one of the first shorts I did where I do these little 1 minute reviews to kind of keep the channel active and just, you know, keep my hand in it. Just something, a bit of fun. And I reviewed their second album. I was after the first and this popped up on Discogs. And it was £6, brand new, sealed. And I've kept the shrink wrap on. It is opened, but shrink wrap is still there. And what makes it even better, this is the limited edition white vinyl edition, which normally goes for a lot more. But this seller just had. I mean, I don't know if the seller had kind of an overspill or just an abundance of these for £6, but I just couldn't resist. What a bargain. Brand new, unplayed, sealed. Tusks, I'm referring to them as they, but it's actually a solo artist. It's a female singer whose name eludes me at the moment. I might try, when I come to edit this, look her up and put her name in a caption. But it's a female singer, and she is backed by one or two other, I don't know if they're session musicians or, you know, specifically, you know, for servicing, you know, for her own services. I'm not too sure. But this is great stuff. It's from 2017 and it's kind of ethereal, like kind of icy, post-punky. If you think about things like, I don't know, maybe a less electronic version of Portishead, maybe a little bit of kind of Bjork. It's really, really, really great. And the fidelity and audio on this is absolutely superb. And I still see them on Discogs going for very, very cheap, really, really low money. So if you fancy checking these out, I recommend it. They've done. There's 2 albums by them, or her, whichever way you want to look at it. And yeah, excellent stuff. What a bargain! Very pleased with that. And from the same seller on Discogs, to save on postage or to get the postage at no extra cost. The same seller for £4 had this. It's Second Spring by Matthew Southern Comfort. Now, I haven't played this yet. Matthew Southern Comfort, what can I say? You kind of know what you're going to get. It's kind of not quite acid folk. It's kind of like a country folk, very gentle, very of its time, but I do like it. I don't know if it would appeal to everyone. Really lovely harmonies and, yeah, sort of great acoustic guitar playing. If you like folk, this is well worth picking up. But this is £4. I mean, it's at least, you know, when I see this out and about, when I've seen it before, I've sometimes seen it for as much as £15. And this cover it's a real sort of rustic matte cover. It's really prone to wear. And this is a lovely example. It's on the Uni label. A great label design, you know I like that. But £4 and no extra cost of the postage. So yeah, I used the transaction to get Tusks, but when I saw he had that, the seller, I thought I had to have it, so why not? Okay, next up. Oh, this is a great album. I have played this one. This is by Julian J Savarim, and it's called, let me just refresh my memory, it is Waiters on the Dance. I keep thinking it's called Waters on the Dance. It's called Waiters on the Dance. So this is a progressive rock record from 1973. It's not an original. If it was an original, I'd probably be about at least £500 lighter off in my bank account. It was originally released on a small label called Birth, who are part of RCA, and originals are very, very expensive. I would say they're rare, but there are actually a few knocking about on Discogs at the moment. So I don't know. I always find when there are copies for sale, I mean, how rare is it? But anyway, this cost me an awful lot less. I think this was just under £30, which in itself is good. It's the earliest reissue, and it's on a label called 5 Hours Back. And it was released, I think, 1986, 1987, something like that. I did my homework on this one. I really wanted this particular issue, and the reason being is because, according to Discogs data, which can be handy sometimes, it was mastered by the great George Peckham, otherwise known as George Porky Peckham, famous Porcupine Cuts. So, as far as I'm concerned, anything he deals with sounds absolutely great. And I read reviews on Discogs and on a really great Facebook group that this particular issue sounds very, very good. And it does. It is great organ-driven progressive rock. If you like that sort of thing, this will be right up your alley. I can't say it's like anything I've not heard before. I mean, it's very, very good. I wouldn't say it's particularly original, especially for 1973, when everything I think in prog rock 70s prog rock had kind of almost been done by then. But if you like organ-led progressive rock, this is an absolute must. Julian J Savarim was as I understand, a science fiction novelist at the time. And this album, I think, is a concept album based on one of his novels. Whether there was meant to be more, I don't know. But certainly, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this record probably flopped at the time. Goodness knows how many it sold, but it has been reissued several times. But this particular issue is great. I got this, as I say, on Discogs, and it was from an excellent shop in the Midlands called Psychotron, who I've used many times. I've actually met the owner before he had his shop years ago when he used to do the London Record Fairs. Pete, he always has lots of good stuff. So Psychotron Records, that's a great, great seller and an independent shop. What do we got next? Right, okay, this one is called by a band called Normal Hawaiians. The album is called What's Going On. It's an independent release. The label is called Illuminated Records, and it is a label that I don't believe I've got anything else on, but it looks like it's got lots of interesting releases on, some of which I'm going to have to check out at some point. Now, I want to give a few shout outs in this video. At some point, and I think very, very recently, someone, a viewer of this channel in the comments, recommended this to me. I can't remember which video it was on or who it is. So if you're watching and you know it's you, thank you. Because I love reading the recommendations, especially the things that I had not heard of at all, because before the comment came in, I'd not heard of this. And this is great. It's kind of post-punk. It is a post-punk record from, I think it's 1984. A bit of a challenging listen. It's quite experimental, kind of neo-psychedelia. There is some weird stuff going on. I mean, I would say side 2, the compositions, the tracks kind of branch out. They're like 10 minutes each, and they're a bit more sort of free-form psychedelic. But it's a really, really, really interesting record. It's a bit on the scarce side, slightly pricey. It's not mega bucks, but you whether you'll see anything like this in the wild, I just don't know. This is why I do still use Discogs a lot, because records like this, I just don't see them for sale at fairs or in shops. A lot of my post-punk I have obtained online, because everything I've bought online from Discogs. I've bought it and I've never ever seen it since in the wild, and obviously I hadn't seen it before. But yeah, that is a really, really great one. And if you know it was you who recommended it, again, thank you very much. That's what the vinyl community is all about at the end of the day. Another recommendation that came through on the comments, and someone actually recommended this on my prog rock, my obscure prog rock part 2 video, where I talked about a band called Spontaneous Combustion. And they mentioned a band called Time. Now, Spontaneous Combustion, I was kind of bigging them up on this video and saying, yep, they've done 2 albums, absolutely brilliant. Here is the first one, blah, blah, blah. What I didn't realise was that Spontaneous Combustion actually continued, had a bit of a lineup changed, and had to change their name to Time. I'm not actually quite sure the reason behind that. But they released one more album, and it's on a label called Buck. A small label, I think, a subsidiary of Decca. And it's not easy to find. I've been looking on Discogs, obviously looking in the wild. I've had no luck in the wild. I was just hoping I might find this at a record fair, but no such luck. And anyway, a decent copy, UK seller, came up on Discogs, and it's a pretty nice copy, a little bit of creasing there. I've played this once. To be honest with you, I thought it was good. I wasn't blown away on the first listen. There's a lot of really great arrangements, and the musicianship is stellar, but the actual compositions didn't grip me too much. However, it is good enough for me to certainly revisit. And sometimes, like any albums like this, sometimes it just takes a few plays to get into. This, to me, despite being technically the band Spontaneous Combustion, sounds nothing like them. Those Spontaneous Combustion albums, Ron Harvest, I adore them. I rate them so highly. This, to me, just sounds like a completely different band. But it is a very good, very scarce, and very interesting prog record from 1975. So, again, if it was you who recommended this in the comments, because I know, yeah, someone did. Nice one. I've got it. I listened. Always chime in with these recommendations. It's what it's all about. That's one of the many reasons why I do these videos. It's to chat to people and find things out. Right, now this one. Oh, this album is great. And I've got a special shout out for this one. Right. This is a band called Camberwell Now. The album is called The Ghost Trade. It's their only full-length album. I have looked their discography up. They've done some singles and a couple of 12 inches or EPs, mini albums or something like that. But this is their only album, full-length. It's a proper independent. It's on a label called Ink Records. I've played this once. I played this at the weekend just gone. It's brilliant. You know when you just get that privilege of putting an album on and going, wow, the first time, this is absolutely fantastic. It's hard to describe. I would say it's got influences of post-punk. It's a little bit of goth, a little bit of neo-psychedelia, and a small smattering of prog. It's got some lengthy tunes on it. The closing track is over 11 minutes, and there's some good playing and arrangements, but it's not like a prog rock record. I would say it's predominantly kind of post-punk and goth. When is it from? Mid-80s, I think. Where's the date on it? 1986. There it is. This is so good. And you know what's great about it? When I was listening to it, because I was giving it quite a critical listen because I knew this video was coming up, so I wanted to, anything that I've sort of been listening to this over the last few weeks, I've been giving quite a critical listen so I can talk about them. They don't sound like anything else. I was just listening. I was like, I can't think of a single comparison that I could, match this band with. They sound absolutely unique, but would appeal to any of the genres that I've just mentioned. So that's great. Where did I hear of this? Well, I read an interview, I think in the last year, in a magazine by snooker legend Steve Davis. Now, he is a keen record collector and music lover. And he didn't mention many of the bands he listened to, but he just happened to drop this one into conversation. And immediately I was like, right, I know he's got good taste. So I looked them up, put them on my watch list, and eventually it's turned up. Good condition, good price. So Steve Davis, if you are watching, you might be, you never know. Thank you very much indeed. You said, I listened. Thank you. And I hope to spread the word more. Anyone watching this video, if you like your post-punk or your prog, Camberwell now, try and pick this up or have a listen online. It is stunning. It is such a good record. Right, next up, another shout out, and I know who I'm shouting out this time. I definitely know who I'm shouting out. I haven't played this yet. Here we go. I've got debut by apparent seminal krautrock, Ashra Temple. Now, I'm going to give a shout out of why I really was kind of looking for this record. I think in the last year or about a year ago, Chris, the Suffolk record collector, who has a great channel and shows some really great stuff, he had an early pressing of this. I think he got a really good deal on it. I'd love an early press, but tricky and expensive. Tricky and expensive at the moment. I think if you can get one in the UK, you have kind of lucked in. Anyway, on a later video that he did, he had something playing in the background, and I kind of picked up on it. It was at low enough level probably to avoid any copyright problems here on YouTube. But I commented on the video and said, "Who is it? Who is it, Chris?" And he said, "Oh, it's Ashra Temple, the first album." So I was like, right, I'm on it. Anyway, I picked up this reissue. Again, did my homework. This is the earliest reissue, I think, available realistically from the late 90s. It's on a French label called Spalax. And it's from the original master tape. So I'm like, well, it's going to be all right. It is quite highly rated, and in itself, it is kind of going up in prices. It looks like it's become quite collectible. This was listed as mint, and mint is what I got, or near mint at least. I think it has been played, but it's as good as new. You can see the shrink is still on it. It's got a little information booklet on it that confirms that it's from the original master tapes. And very, very chuffed to have that. But as I say, I haven't got round to spinning it yet. Obviously, I will do, and very much looking forward to it. But yeah, I think it is kind of like, good cosmic rock from Germany. One track aside, 19 minutes and 25 minutes. Yeah, great. That'll be a good one. Okay, this one, again, haven't played this one yet. This is by Neville Luxury. Now, Neville Luxury, I don't know why they've called themselves that, because this is actually the band Punishment of Luxury, who I have talked about before. I love Punishment of Luxury. I bigged them up on my post-punk video where I showed, I think, 10 post-punk recommended obscure albums. Punishment of Luxury only actually did one full-length album for United Artists, but they had a couple of mini albums. I've got another one, and this is the second mini album, but for some reason, they've changed their name to Neville Luxury, but they are a great, heavy, quirky, dark-sounding post-punk band. Really, really good. If you can get anything by them, then do it. The album by Punishment of Luxury, I can't remember the name of it, but it's on United Artists, and I have seen it about in the wild. It's not too difficult to come by. So, yeah, do look out for them. More post-punk. Again, I've got the first album by this band. Now, are they called Tires, or Tire? Probably it's Tire. It's called Story of the Year. I've got their first album, which was released on Object Music. Very, very good indeed. Kind of a bit like Talking Heads in a way, but a bit more sort of, maybe a bit more sort of jagged than them. But this album wasn't released in the UK. I think this is a French pressing, but one turn up on Discogs. Again, not easy to find in the UK because it just simply wasn't released here. So grabbed the opportunity while I could. Very, very nice. Okay, couple of local bands now. Okay, Marginal Inclusion again. I haven't played this one. Post-punk goth band. This one. This is by Caprice, and it is called Look Back in Anger, Or is it the band that's called Look Back in Anger? I should know this. I think they're called... Are they called Look Back in Anger? And is the album called Caprice? Oh... This is what comes with buying too many records and getting old. You just can't remember. You can't remember this sort of stuff. But anyway, this is described as post-punk and goth, and I was particularly interested because they hail from Waterlooville, which is a town just on the outskirts of Portsmouth here. So I kind of deem them a local band. So, and that's independent on Criminal Damage Records. Okay, another Portsmouth band. Now this one, yeah, a bit of a story on this one. This was released this year. I actually got this on day of release. It was, yeah, via an online purchase, mail order, whether you can get it. I expect you probably can get it in local shops. Torpedoes. The album is called Heaven's Light Is Our Guide. This is a double album. A proper full-length double album. We're talking sort of about 20 minutes aside. And Torpedoes are a local band. They've been going for many years. This is their fourth album. They don't record on a regular basis. I happen to know they all have day jobs. So this is kind of, I don't know what the score is with a lot of bands who are not world famous. I think a lot of them probably have day jobs, but that's subject for, I could talk about that forever. Anyway, they are gigging at the moment. They are touring on the South Coast. And they are what we would call a punk or post-punk band. They really do discuss their influences a lot. And it shows here. They love The Damned. They love Killing Joke. Comms Are Angels. The Cardiacs. It's all here. And do you know what? This is a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant record. Disclaimer, am I affiliated with this band? A little bit. The guitarist and keyboard player is my cousin. Now, it sounds like I'm bigging it up because this is his band. And yeah, of course I want to see him do well. But genuinely, this is a terrific record. It's absolutely brilliant. Excuse me a minute. Sorry, something fell on the tripod there. You probably saw it wobble. I saw it. Got distracted. Where was I? Yeah, it's a wonderful record. As I say, they've done four albums over a long period of time. The last two have been released on vinyl, as you can see here. The one before that also had a double album release, and it's been very, very highly praised. I've seen loads of, various sort of music press reviews on it. And loads of people have bigged it up. I went to see them live about a month or so ago. They were doing the album launch, playing a lot of these tracks, and it was absolutely brilliant. It's a fantastic record. If you like post-punk, punk, or even sort of heavy rock, it is, some of this is sort of, it's almost sort of bordering heavy metal. There's some heavy riffs going on. This is a great album to get. And what I will do is I will, in the description, post a couple of their YouTube vids because they have actually done sort of, music videos, if that's the sort of term you want to use, for their tracks. So, yeah, I urge you to check them out. A great, great band from Portsmouth and a pleasure to know them. Right, here we go. Nucleus from 1975. Is it 4 or 5? Oh, I don't know, one of the two. Mid to late 70s. Great record. This is when Nucleus have become funky. I picked up Alley Cat at the start of the year, which is really quite a hard one to find, and absolutely loved it. This one, Snake's Hips, etc., is not as difficult or expensive to find. I don't really know why. Their prices seem to be all over the place. Look at this back. I mean, Can you believe that? I mean, imagine if someone put that out now, the uproar. But back then, I doubt anyone sort of batted an eyelid, but just, God, seriously. Anyway, bit of a backstory on obtaining this one. It was a Discogs purchase. And it was described as absolutely all-round excellent condition. I'm like, great, I'll have that. When it was packed, they kept the record in the sleeve, which I can't stand. I don't know why people do it. Unless the record is sealed, that shouldn't be done. Anyway, it knifed through the top of the sleeve. So I was a bit miffed about that, but I'm like, all right, I'll let it go. Got the record out to inspect it, and it's covered in marks, covered in them. They're all weird. They were not sort of scratches that went from inner to outer that you see. They were kind of swirled along the grooves. And I was like, this isn't excellent. So anyway, I messaged the seller on Discogs and said, look, this is not an excellent record. It's covered in these big surface marks. Within minutes, bang, PayPal, refund, come straight through. Because I did ask, I said, I want to send the record back for a refund. Not happy. I want to send the record back. Seller comes back to me, quite mortified actually, and said, no, please don't send it back. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Here's your money. Don't send it. And I was like, are you sure? Yeah, I've got new people working for me. I need to go and have a word with them. I'm like, all right, okay. So I'm like, right, fair enough. Anyway, I had a look at the record. I cleaned it on my cleaning machine, wet, back clean. And a lot of these marks they're still there, but they came off. I don't know what caused them. It looks like someone maybe gave it a wipe with a cloth, and something was embedded in the cloth. The mark looks like a sort of pencil eraser has gone over it. But anyway, after a good clean, and I used sort of a brush on it, a lot of the marks had improved, but were still there. But it plays perfectly. So I'm like, okay, so it is a little bit of a marked copy, but it plays brilliantly. So freebie. What can I say? It's not as described, but I'm not going to bother trying to upgrade that unless I find one really, really cheap, because it just plays perfectly. So what can I say? And it's a brilliant, brilliant jazz rock fusion record. Really funky. Nucleus are great. Fantastic. We're getting there. We're nearly done. Right. This only arrived at the weekend. This is by Squid. It's called Oh Monolith. I got this from a channel on YouTube. I don't know who recommended this or who showed it on their channel, or maybe they put it in the comments to me. Someone somewhere along the line recommended this, and I put it on my Amazon wish list, and it turned up on Amazon really cheap. So I grabbed it. I can't really tell you too much of it, other than the fact that it was recorded and released in the last few years. So it's by Squid. Oh Monolith. Again, if whoever showed this recently is watching, thank you very much. I can't say too much more than that. But yeah, I've picked it up. I'll play it. I'm sure it will be very good. I've obviously done my homework on it, but yeah, what can I say? Okay. Bargain, the Charlatans with Modern Nature. I've been getting into the Charlatans recently. I've picked up their first album and their last album. It's a weird way to go in, especially since one of my recent videos that said I only listen to the early stuff. Their last album, called Different Days, is excellent. Really, really good. And their first album, Some Friendly, is just classic. But this turned up. This is their second to latest one, called Modern Nature. It is Modern Nature, isn't it? And this is I got this from eBay on a buy it now. And this is a limited edition. Need to get some good inners for this. Gold vinyl. Double album. I say double. There's one EP, bonus EP, with some bonus tracks, B-sides, and I think a demo as well. So on Discogs, this was selling for sort of, about £50. But someone on eBay wanted £30 plus P&P. No, not plus P&P, sorry. That's my mistake. Free P&P. I had a watch on it, and then they sent me an offer of 29, and I went in slightly lower than again, and they accepted 27. What a bargain. Sealed. It's still sealed. I've just removed the shrink wrap to have a look at it. Great. What a bargain. Okay. Bandages, Edgar Broughton Band. Haven't played it yet, but I love Edgar Broughton Band, and I've got their Harvest records. For some strange reason, this one has been eluding me for ages. This one was released on NEMS and is a lovely copy. Wonderful. An upgrade copy of Blues Helping by Love Sculpture. The seller on it said that the vinyl, the disc, was remarkable. Remarkable condition, they said. And they were not wrong. It is absolutely, it may as well be unplayed. I hope it plays as well as it looks. But it is an first pressing and an absolute beauty. Great record, a great late 60s blues record. They only did 2 albums. Their second album went much more progressive and psychedelic, whereas this is kind of very, very good, but very typical blues boom stuff. This record here, Lindenberg on the Telefunken label. It's a prog record. It was on my wants list. I don't know where I heard about it, but it was cheap, and I got it in with a couple of the other records I showed earlier. So I bought it, but I haven't played it, and I can't tell you anything about it other than the fact that it's a German release. It's on a label called Telefunken. I love that label. You know, I'm a sucker for a record label, but I love that one. That's very good. And finally, now this is a record I've never owned before, and occasionally I show records where I would put them in my hang my head in shame. Why did I not own it? Why have I never owned this before? Because I've known of this album for years, and I've seen it discussed on social media and here in the VC many times, but I've never owned one. And it's well known. I don't know how much of a classic it was regarded at the time, but it certainly is now. And that is Funkadelic, Maggot Brain. I've played this once, liked it very much. I don't know what I was expecting, but for some reason it didn't sound like what I was expecting, but I liked what I heard. So that's all I can say about it. I don't really know. I don't think I need to discuss it too heavily. I'm sure many of you will know what it sounds like. So just a couple of things on this one. This is the last record I'm showing, by the way. Again, I had to do my homework on this one because originals, expensive. There is a UK release. I think it was on Janus or something like that, and it's might as well not exist. It's so rare. Absolutely, yeah. I don't know. It's strange that it came out on that label because that's an American label. But this one is released on Westbound Records. It's from 1989. It's pressed in Germany. And I did a lot of homework here. I specifically wanted this issue because it's been done by a mastering technique called direct metal mastering. Now, I can't describe what that's all about and how it's worked. There are videos here on YouTube if you want to watch it. But apparently these sound very, very good. And I can confirm it does because I've played the thing. But a lot of commenters on Discogs were saying this is the one to go for if you're going to go for a reissue, because later and kind of current reissues apparently aren't very good at all. And it's got they replicated the amazing Westbound labels, which is good. And I'm very pleased to have it. Very, very pleased. I'll tell you a little story. Look at the artwork on that. Okay, you all know it. You all know it. It's funny. It's unique. A couple of years ago, I was on holiday with my wife in Portugal. We went to Lagos and we stayed in a hotel complex. It's a bit sort of out of town. And it was right near a cliff edge. And one early morning after breakfast, we went walking out sort of along the sort of cliff edge. Very pleasant, lovely. There's very few people about. I remember seeing the odd dog walker, one or two joggers, that kind of thing. And you kind of walk towards a lighthouse. There's a big clearing. And there were some steps that led down to like a sort of cave, and there's all sort of waves lapping up everywhere. But it's very remote. You've got to remember, it's very, very remote, this area. And it's just, it feels like in the middle of nowhere, very peaceful, very scenic, but ultimately very remote. And there was a little kind of concrete post. It was like a monolith. And someone has stenciled some artwork on this monolith. And I looked at it and I was like, that's Maggot Brain. Now I've got a picture of it and I'm going to bring it up now. Take a look. Is that or is that not the artwork to Maggot Brain that I've just shown you? I just found it really weird. It's random. That's that. I mean, that's the great thing about art. If something can be random, then it's great. But when you consider the location of this thing and maybe the choice of album cover, because it is a well-known album, but it's not mega well-known. I mean, if they'd have put on there the Dark Side of the Moon Prism, I'd probably be more, oh yeah, someone's just done that. But it just made me wonder, why did someone put Maggot Brain on this little concrete post in this remote area in Lagos in Portugal? I don't know. I just wanted to chuck that story in because I like telling stories. Right, this video, we've gone over half an hour by the looks of it. Okay, so that's enough for now. So if you've made it this far, thank you very much. I think you'll agree, I can blow my own trumpet and say I've got some very good stuff there. I'm really, really chuffed. I need to ease up on the online purchasing, not because I need to just make my way through what I've bought, but the fact is, yeah, there's just so many there, and I think I feel a bit sort of burnt out by it, quite frankly. I kind of want to have a little break, and I'll be back out digging in shops in due course. So for the time being, that will hopefully be enough. I just need to stay strong. I think you all know what it's like. So anyway, until the next video, take care. Thanks as always, and thanks again for watching. And I will see you all again very, very soon. See you later.